You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
Do you need a car? Been shopping only to be turned down because of bad credit, low credit, no credit, bankruptcy, or divorce? Guess what? Today's your lucky day, because now you can buy a car, truck, or SUV, just about any vehicle. It's true. Bad credit doesn't matter. No credit doesn't matter. Bankruptcy or divorce, it just doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, your job is your ticket to your new vehicle. We're Auto Credit Express, and we've helped thousands of people just like you. Antonio H. told us, great company, got me connected, and the day I went in, I drove off in the car I wanted. 100% worth your time. Need a car? Get started now and drive off as early as today. Just text FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911 right now to get started. That's FINANCE, FINANCE, to 357-911. Auto financing the easy way. Text FINANCE to 357-911.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
I take a breath, I'm not gonna lose. This is what I came here to do.
Keep on doing what you do, Rick. You're my favorite host. Favorite host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
It's time to hear the truth about America's biggest challenges. You're listening to America Off the Rails with your host, Rick Robinson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program. I am Rick Robinson. We are live right now on KLRNradio.com, where liberty and reason still reign. It is Monday, February 25th, 2019. And, so in case you didn't know, because, sometimes the titles don't show up everywhere the show goes, tonight's show is entitled It's Time That We Talk About at AOC, otherwise known as Andrea Ocasio-Cortez, She Guevara, Lipstick Guevara, whatever you want to call her. The simple fact of the matter is the time has come. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start the show by saying one very simple thing. Unless you want the United States of America to become the next Venezuela, then it's time that we stop listening to every crackpot with a two-bit scheme and a plan. Because that's all this is. That's all she's had from the day that she's gotten elected. Now she has had the nerve to come out and say that because she's trying, and she doesn't feel like anyone else is, to address this climate change catastrophe, because she's now decided we have 12 years to live. Funny, Al Gore said that 20 years ago. Around 20 years ago, he told us there was 10 years left? We're now double that. We now have children in the ages of 15 and 16 years old. They're like, I'm not getting married. I'm not having children because the world's going to end in 12 years anyway. So what difference does it make? This is the world that she's creating. Everyone's talking about Donald Trump and his fear-mongering because, oh my God, he wants to actually protect our borders and make sure that people come here legally. But you want to talk about fear-mongering? Let's talk about climate change. Because I am now, I'll be 46 years old in May. This is about the third time that I've seen the narrative shift. And each time it's supposedly supposed to be the end of the world. Before I ever even really started getting into political talk radio, because I used to work nights, one of the very first talk radio shows I ever really used to listen to was Coast to Coast AM, back when Art Bell was still alive and he was the one that was hosting. And that was his big thing. Anybody remember the movie that they did, The Day After Tomorrow? That was based on some of his precepts as far as what was happening with global warming, or at that point, back then they still called it global warming. Now it's climate change. Because the narrative keeps shifting. But the one thing that never stops shifting is it's all our fault. And by our, I don't mean mankind, I mean America. Because we don't hold any of the other countries on the planet to the same standards that we're trying to force ourselves to hold to. We don't, I mean, we supposedly have this whole global initiative to stop climate change, but nobody's yelling at China about their pollution. Nobody's yelling at Africa about their pollution. It's all about us. Do you realize that we're already pretty much doing everything that we can to make our little corner of the atmosphere as good as we can get it? But here's the thing, folks. The Earth is an enclosed ecosystem. So we do everything we can to keep our air clean, but eventually we get the air coming in from the other countries that are doing absolutely nothing to keep their air clean. And we're still over here going, well, we're doing everything that we can. And now we've got the Green New Deal. We're going to take apart the Green New Deal a little bit today. I have been, because she's brand new, I have been kind of reluctant to go after AOC. I've poked fun at her a little bit. I've had a little bit of fun at her expense, but I haven't really taken anything that she's said head on. That changes today. Because I'm done. I'm done listening to people that up until 5 months ago were bartenders telling me that I'm the boss because you're not trying to fix anything. No, you don't understand how this works. Let me give you a civics lesson, lipstick Che Guevara or Che Guevara, whatever the hell you want. I don't even care what you call yourself anymore or what anybody else calls you, because we're going to have a serious talk for just a second. And you're tagged in this video, in this recording, so I know at some point somebody that belongs to your organization is going to see it. I don't care. You need a civics lesson. Point blank. We do not work for you. You work for us. More specifically, you work for your constituents because you're a congressperson. You work for the people that elected you. You are not their boss. You don't get to say you're the boss just because you're putting up a resolution. Here's the thing, folks. Everybody's having a cow about the Green New Deal. It's a resolution. It doesn't mean anything. It's not a law. It's not going to go from the Congress to the Senate to the president's desk to be signed. And even if it were, it's not going to get signed. So for those of you right now that are completely freaking out on the right and be like, oh my God, this thing's going to cost us trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars if they try to enact it. It would, but they're never going to be able to get it enacted. Not yet. So I'm not telling you not to worry, but I'm telling you to focus your worry where it belongs, and that is on the person who is fronting this as her idea. Because the Green New Deal is not AOC's idea. Follow the money. Look at the people behind her. This is another instance of Obama. We've played the audio before, and if I'd have thought about it, I would have grabbed it again tonight. Obama, before he really hit the political scene, you could see him trying to give public speeches, and he was just because that wasn't what he did. This is another instance of a group of people getting a hold of someone that they think is malleable enough that they can make her whatever she needs to be for her constituents. And the worst thing is, they're not even really going after her constituents anymore. When we come back from the break here in just a couple minutes, I've got some audio of a recent confrontation between school-age children and other Democrats. These school-age children are completely buying into the Green New Deal concept and how it's this earth-changing legislation, and they don't even seem to understand the fact that even if somebody says, yeah, I agree with it, it's not going to change anything. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, before we play the audio, we're going to talk about what an actual resolution from Congress is, because some people don't seem to understand what that is. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back, so don't go away.
In the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Welcome back, folks. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and we are live right here on KLRNradio.com. All right, so before we went to break, I said when we came back we were going to talk about resolutions. So I do have one corrective point that I'd like to make. There are certain resolutions that are considered legally binding, but those are joint resolutions. Those, just like a law, have to be passed by both houses. They have to be passed in identical form. And then after they're passed in identical form, they go off to the president for signature, and then at that point, it actually does become a binding resolution or a law. In this instance, what AOC is talking about is a simple resolution, because she knows there's no way it's going to be passed in the Senate. So a simple resolution is not nearly as binding. Let's see if we can look up a little. I've actually got some stuff pulled up in the Google machine here. So there are three types of resolutions: joint resolutions, concurrent resolutions, and simple resolutions. If you understand how bills work, then congrats. You already get joint resolutions as well. There is no legal difference, and they follow the same process. Joint resolutions must be passed in the same form by both chambers of Congress and then signed by the president. Laws created by a joint resolution carry the same legal weight as bills, but they deal with different matters. While bills are used to create, repeal, or alter laws, joint resolutions are employed to do things like establish commissions, declare war, and amend the Constitution. Bills and joint resolutions hog most of the legislative spotlight, but simple and concurrent resolutions should not be overlooked. These means do not become laws, but rather function as statements of intent for Congress or impact internal congressional operations. While simple resolutions are only the expression of one chamber, concurrent resolutions have to be passed by both. Neither requires authorization from the president. So what she's talking about in this instance, again, is not a joint resolution, which can be signed by the president and become a law. It's not a concurrent resolution, which basically means that both sides of the bicameral legislation or legislative body actually agree with the idea. What she's basically referring to is a simple resolution, which is basically just a statement where it basically says, if the House had its way, there would be this new thing called a Green New Deal. The scary thing about the Green New Deal, we're currently over $22 trillion in debt. The Green New Deal, by all estimates, would cost us nearly $34 trillion in 10 years. So you have to ask yourself, why do they want us spending the type of money that we're spending for what is going to become subpar education? I mean, look, guys, I get it. We all want our children to have the best possible education, but can you honestly tell me that this nationalized, cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all education system that we find ourselves in today is doing our children a damn bit of good? Unless, of course, you align with the left and you think it's great that your children are being indoctrinated. Because I have something I'd like you to hear. For those of you who think our education system is wonderful and it's great and it's marvelous, shall we say. This is some audio that I want you to hear. It'll take a second to get queued up.
You guys all skip school?
Yeah.
Our teachers.
My teachers on strike. We're doing global strike for climate.
I have a friend who works for the LA Unified School District, and they did a similar thing. Yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Oh, tell me where you're from.
We are trying to ask you to vote yes on the Green New Deal.
Well, there are reasons why I can't, because there's no way to pay for it.
Senator, we need a plan that...
And let me just finish. There is no way to pay for what it gets done, so nothing will happen. So you be the judge. You take a look at it. We're going to get you a copy.
But we have come to a point where our Earth is dying, literally, and it is going to be a pricey and ambitious plan that is needed to deal with the magnitude of that issue. And so we're here asking you to vote yes on the resolution for the Green New Deal, because that is the only
that resolution will not pass the Senate.
Why does that stop you from voting yes? Because even if they vote, you can still vote yes and it won't pass and we can draft a new plan.
Well, I may do that. We'll see. I don't know.
Please vote
but
yes.
It's not a good resolution.
Can we?
You know,
it represents what we need right now.
Some scientists have said that we have 12 years to turn this around.
Well, it's not going to get turned around in 10 years. What we can do,
Senator, if this doesn't get turned around in 10 years, you're looking at the faces of the people who are going to be living with these consequences.
The government is supposed to be for the people and by the people and all for the people.
You know what's interesting about this group is I've been doing this for 30 years. I know what I'm doing. You come in here and you say it has to be my way or the highway. I don't respond to that. I've gotten elected. I just ran. I was elected by almost 1 million vote plurality. And I know what I'm doing. So, you know, maybe people should listen a little bit. And this is what... Can we staple the pages together?
I hear what you're saying, but we're the people who voted you. You're supposed to listen to us. That's your job.
How old are you?
I'm 16. I can't
you didn't vote for me.
Well, I'm 24.
It doesn't matter. We're the ones who's going to be impacted.
Something.
It doesn't matter. We're going to be the ones who are impacted.
I understand that. I have 7 grandchildren. I understand it very well.
Senator, the cost of not taking this action is far higher than the cost of what the Green New Deal will be. And there is enormous popularity for this bill around the whole country. And we're asking you to be brave and do this for us and for your grandchildren.
You meeting as a mother of this young child, I can say that I really hope that you follow the lead of these young people, and I think it's the best chance at really giving them a life.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to meet.
Oh my God! Hang on, I gotta work on the volume now that we're done listening to the video. Sorry, that was probably a little loud when I came back in, but I'm sorry. I'm speechless. So we voted for you. How old are you? I'm 16. You didn't vote for me. I'm not usually a fan of Miss Warren, but I have to say she was kind of on point all the way through that thing. At least I'm pretty sure that's who that was. I actually didn't have the video pulled up, but the voice sounded like Liz Warren. This is the thing. So, Orty pointed this out a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, he's a genius. So this is the guy who claims to only make fart noises on FUBAR, another station that we have here, but he's also a climatologist, but he only makes fart noises. But he pointed out that, earlier with the whole Parkland thing, the left thought they finally had it figured out. And it was, we're going to get these kids out here, we're going to put them out, we're going to make them the face and the voice of gun control, and then the problem is they aged out too fast. So within a few months of, being this spokesperson for how gun control was going to be this wonderful cure-all for everything in America, they were suddenly adults, and suddenly they were able to be criticized again. So look at, you heard some of these voices. Some of these voices were 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. These are the last things that 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old children should be worried about. I want to go find their parents and throat punch them. Notice I said I want to, because I'm not going to. But I really, really would like to, because we are so busy robbing our children of innocence, of the time to be children, of the time to actually enjoy their childhood. And we wonder why we have this epidemic of childhood suicide anymore. Because we're treating our children as if they were adults. We're saddling them with the stress that only adults should have to bear. We're teaching them to be mean-spirited. Everybody talks about conservatives and how mean we are. Look at the way that those children just basically just all over her. You should listen to us. We voted for you. Look, I get it, but the problem is maybe your parents voted for her. Maybe you should be talking to your parents about who they're voting for. But if you guys think that the Green New Deal is what's going to fix this country, then I hope and pray that by the time you're old enough to actually vote, you figured out how misguided you're living in the fields kind of thing, living for the moment, trying to make sure everybody's all feeling warm and fuzzy and that the environment's completely protected, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. If we go bankrupt in the process, then it's not going to matter that you have lush greenery and that you have clean air. Well, I guess maybe it will, because you're going to be sleeping outside. Because you wouldn't be able to afford to do anything else. We're talking about an additional $32 trillion into an economy that already can't handle the burden that it has right now. I'm not even talking about the unfunded liabilities numbers. I'm talking about the economy as it stands today. Now look, I will get it, and I understand it. As a conservative, we have not been doing a very good job talking about the spending while the Republicans had control of all three houses of Congress. I just did the Ocasio-Cortez thing. While the Republicans had control of all three branches of government. The legislature, the Supreme Court, which we have now, and then the executive branch. We didn't do a very good job holding everybody's feet to the fire regarding spending. And now we've passed the $22 trillion mark. Now, for everybody on the right that's like, but Rick, most of that was under Obama. You know what? That's awesome. That's great that we can say, well, at least most of it wasn't us. But it is us now, and it had been for the last 2 years. We haven't been doing anything about it. So the last thing that we really need to be talking about right now is how we're going to continue to add to our national debt. Because you want to talk about our children and our grandchildren being saddled with something, let's talk about what is in essence, 34 plus 22 is $56 trillion in debt? Now, that's not even accounting for the other everyday spending, so let's account for the fact that they're likely not going to get anything reined in, and let's continue to assume that over the next 12 years, our national debt continues to accrue at about $1 trillion a year, which is kind of becoming the average anymore. So you figure $12 trillion for the normal stuff, so that already puts us to $34 trillion. Then you figure another $34 trillion for the Green New Deal. We're talking about $68 trillion. I don't know about you guys, but I have an aneurysm every time I see the national debt clock, and they're talking about saddling us all in within the next 10 to 12 years with a total, not even counting the unfundeds, of somewhere north of $63 trillion. Because we have to fix climate change. I have to point this out because I've seen this over and over again. 15, 16-year-old kids are like, I'm not marrying anybody, I'm not going to have any kids because the world's ending in 12 years and it's not going to matter anyway. And well, they didn't actually say that the world was going to end in 12 years. They said we had 10 years to turn it around and by 12 it would be too late. Basically, same thing. So we now have children that are not planning for the future at all because they assume they're going to be dead in 12 years. That's what the Democratic Party is bringing us. But you want to talk to me about the fear-mongering of the right. You have children that are terrified to plan their futures because they don't think they're going to have one because of climate change. And you have the gall to talk to me about how the right is a group of fear-mongers. All right, ladies and gents, we're going to take a break. We're at the bottom of the hour. Actually, we're a little bit past, but with where we started the show, we're officially at the bottom of the hour. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now. 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Whether we realize it or not, everyone has been impacted by addiction. We all have family members, we all have friends that have faced this demon. But there's hope. There's hope in recovery. There's hope when we work together to rise above the plight of addiction. I'd like you to join Mac Mullings every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Rise Above Radio on KOKC 1520 AM, where they talk about the hope that is available to all of us. Alright folks, welcome back to the program. I am Rick Robinson. We're going to keep this discussion going about Andrea Ocasio-Cortez. Alright, so I've let you hear the activist group. Actually, I was talking during the break in the chat and realized that I had misspoke. It actually was not Warren, it was Dianne Feinstein, or as I like to call her, Feiny. But anyway, so let's hear the next clip. We're just, some of this stuff I'm just going to let you hear.
Today is the day that we truly embark on a comprehensive agenda of economic, social, and racial justice in the United States of America. Climate change and our environmental challenges are one of the biggest existential threats to our way of life. Are you offended that Speaker Pelosi called this the green dream? No, I think it is a green dream. And I think that it is, and I think that that all great American programs, everything from the Great Society to the New Deal, started with a vision for our future. And I don't think that, I don't consider that to be a dismissive term. Speaker Pelosi and I have spoken at length about climate. We share this priority. She did, in fact, invite me to be on the committee. And so I don't think that this is a snub. I don't think that this is anything like that. And we can have the conversation about the committee another day. But today is about the vision that we're putting forward and the actual legislative plan. And that is, right now, this legislative scope is the only legislative scope that has been presented in this Congress. Nancy Pelosi is a leader on climate, has always been a leader on climate, and I will not allow our caucus to be divided up by silly notions of whatever narrative. We are in this together. We are 100% in this together.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel.
All right, so as you can hear, that was from NBC News. So we're 100% in this together. Well, we're definitely 100% in this together if the Green New Deal ever becomes anything near a binding resolution of any kind, because we're going to be broke faster than we know what happened. So here's the thing, folks. I keep coming back to this. We need to understand history. Socialism fails every single time it's been tried. Now, there are some instances of this hybridization between socialism and, this whole, I don't even know what you would call it, some sort of corporatism, because it's not democracy. It's the government basically coming in and telling certain industries how to do things the way they want them done, what they can charge. A good case in point is this whole Medicare idea. For everybody who thinks this Medicaid for all is a great idea, Medicaid's already broke. We're going to pull the numbers for you probably for the Wednesday show, because I'm not going to have time to get to them before then. But I want to go over... The reason I'm bringing this up now is because we're watching Venezuela fall apart in front of our eyes, and these people are still hitting the same tired talking points about this is the only way to make things better in America. Ask people in Venezuela if they're better off now than they were 5 years ago. And I know we always say that, is a joking thing or is a, kind of a talking point in politics. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's a serious question for the people in Venezuela. So let's rewind 5 or 6 years. Ask them if they're better now than they were before they started going into raging leftist territory. Now that they can't even pull that, their ATM limit to go to an ATM in Venezuela, you can only pull out $1 at a time. They have 1,000,000% inflation. That means that something that used to cost $1 is now $1 million. They've raised minimum wage 30 times. I don't have all these numbers in front of me, but I'm pulling from memory, and I'm pretty sure that's close to accurate. Again, we'll go over a lot of this stuff on Wednesday in detail, because that's my plan. We're going to take this apart. We're going to look at it. We're going to look at what type of things these people are talking about here that parallel was already what they tried to do in Venezuela and how it didn't work there. So why is it they suddenly seem to think that it's going to work here? Let me clue you in. They know it's not going to work. They don't care. For everyone who is into the democratic socialist movement, the socialism movement, the communist movement, they all have this grandiose idea that they're going to be part of the ruling class. They don't realize that there's going to be a limited number of slots of the ruling class. That's what's different between these type of societies and a capitalist society. Yes, it sometimes sucks if you're poor because you have to find ways to take care of things, sometimes on your own. But it also means that there aren't just a fixed number of people that can get to the point where they are able to have the things that they want. You have the ability to work hard, come up with an idea, market it, and push it so that people can actually profit, or you can profit from your ideas and your labor. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I will say that I have a big problem with people that have pockets full of money and then don't do anything with it. Because if you've been fortunate enough to be able to get to the point where you're not having to live paycheck to paycheck and you're not having to fight tooth and nail for your food, you should be doing something to make your circle, your sphere of influence, better. And I've been saying that for a long time. If you look at the history in this country, there used to not be this concept of wealth being passed from generation to generation. Because to them, it was much like the aristocracy. If you didn't have to work for it, you wouldn't understand it, you wouldn't appreciate it, and therefore it becomes squandered. That's why when there wasn't this idea of wealth being passed from generation to generation, you would see people that would be, at the end of their days, they would make out a will, they would set up trust funds for libraries, they would do all of these things to make their community a better place, and their children, while having some sort of comfortable stipend from their parents when they passed, were not obscenely rich and had to go out and make their own way in the world. That makes sense to me. And I know right now some of you are rolling your eyes and be like, well, why would you say that? If I had a rich uncle who left me $5 million, but that's not the point. The point is, in this country, you're supposed to make your own way. And while you're doing it, as you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, I know the leftists hate that term, but I absolutely love it, so I don't care. While you pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and as you get yourself more and more in places where you're not having to struggle, you're supposed to be helping those around you, not letting the government do it for you. Wait, that's starting to sound like the Liberty HealthShare commercial, but it's true. We wouldn't need all of these government programs if people were doing what they were supposed to do. You know, one of the things that has absolutely astounded me as I've become more involved in Wake Church here in Norman, Wake Church, okay. Every once in a while, the pastor will bring up things that happened in the beginning of the church, like when there were 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people baptized. I mean, we're talking like days-long baptism ceremonies in an actual river, which is amazing enough. But when you think about it, when the early church, if there was somebody that came into that church and they had a financial need, there were people in the church that were selling whatever they could to make sure those people's needs were met. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Rick, that sounds a lot like communism. No, it doesn't, because nobody was making them do it. The government didn't make them sell their stuff. They felt led to sell their things, whatever they had in excess, to make sure that their brothers and sisters' needs were met. How much better would our world be if we lived by that motto instead of the idea of redistribution? Because whether we like it or not, that's where government got the idea. Nobody wants to talk about that fact, but that's basically where government got the idea. Nobody's wanting to do it on their own, so we're going to do it for them. We're going to take from those that we feel have too much, and we're going to redistribute it to those that we feel don't have enough. But the problem is when you get the government in the way, there's all kinds of bureaucracy that has to be paid for. Think about how much easier it would be if someone was struggling and you had the ability to help them, and you went to them and you said, look, I know you're having a hard time, so I sold this extra car that I have. I got $600 for this piece of junk car that we weren't using for anything. Here, it's yours. No bureaucracy, no BS, no middleman having to get paid all the way through the middle of all these different transactions and this taxation without representation and everything else. And I'm sorry, I still believe that in a lot of ways we are being taxed without being fully represented in how those taxes are being used. That's my money. I should have a decision as to where it goes and how it's spent. But I don't, because the government's taking that decision away from me. And Al, you're exactly right. Benevolence is not communism. They give of their means, not by force. You are exactly right. It's scary to think about how much better everything would be if we would get out of our own way. All right, I've got one last break, and then when we come back, I've got a little bit of a blooper reel. I can't take credit for it. I'm not the one that put it together. This actually came in from Daily Caller's DC Shorts. But it's actually a gaff reel of pretty much every time AOC said something that didn't come out the way she intended. So we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, we'll round up the show with that. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, back before you know it.
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq, Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is. If getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. you'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Whether we realize it or not, everyone has been impacted by addiction. We all have family members, we all have friends that have faced this demon. But there's hope. There's hope in recovery. There's hope when we work together to rise above the plight of addiction. I'd like you to join Mac Mullings every Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. on Rise Above Radio on KOKC 1520 AM, where they talk about the hope that is available to all of us.
Swinging for the fences. It's like this heart is defenseless.
Welcome back, folks. Alright, so we're getting pretty close to the end of the show. We've got about 8 minutes left. So before we close things out, I do have one other audio clip that I want to play. And then if we have time for it, I have to say something about Bernie Sanders. I know it's not AOC related, but close enough. He's a Democratic Socialist, and something just came across my feed that really annoyed me. But let's have a little bit of fun on the way out first. This is, again, from Daily Caller Shorts. This is every time Ocasio-Cortez got it wrong.
Running for Congress was never in the plan. It was never in the cards. It was never something that I thought I'd be able to do. And if we work our butts off to make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2020, we can't start working in 2020.
I can't let you go!
Inaugurated January 3rd, January 4th, we're signing the healthcare, we're signing this.
But they don't actually inaugurate Congress people, they swear them in.
And then she went on to say that she was going to get inaugurated on the 3rd and then start signing bills on the 4th. You don't get inaugurated and you don't sign bills. Only the president will sign the bills that you present to him.
But she appears to have her political colors mixed up.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're going to flip this seat red in November.
Yes. Why did you run?
I ran because I felt like we could do better and that we could be better as a country. And I looked around.
You know, the benefit of capitalism is that you engage in voluntary trade. It is the system that, unlike all the others, has lifted more people out of poverty over the course of human history than any other system. Well, so I think that those things that you talk about, that you discuss, are part of the course of human evolution.
Ocasio-Cortez says she can't afford to move to Washington. She can't make a deposit on an apartment in D.C. until she gets her first paycheck. Members of Congress earn a solid $174,000 a year.
Connected most to an electorate when they were fighting for these seats
when they got these seats, when they were campaigning most, when we had more of an American middle class. But that upper middle class doesn't exist anymore.
But when you look at what she just said, that the upper middle class is gone, look at this. In 1979, it was at 12.9%, if we could put up the graphic. And today, the middle class has grown, as you can see, more than double that number from that many years ago.
Yes, but I also think that what people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine, I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes. Do you think you can expand on that? Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also just, I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue. You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
Next question, please. Next question, please. All right, so, again, I know she's young, she's going to learn. The scariest part is most of the people on the left don't even seem to understand that she's not yet old enough to run for president. They're swearing up and down she should run in 2020. She's not old enough, folks. Some of that was just completely scary, though. Just insanely scary. Speaking of insanely scary, I promised if we had time I would get to this. We've got about 4 minutes left. So this just came across my feed. This is from Bernie Sanders' blue checkmarked account. Actually, I think there's audio. Let's see if we can get that to play.
If you're the Democratic presidential nominee and you're on the debate stage with President Trump, how will you engage with him?
Well, we'll bring a lie detector along. And every time he lies, it goes beep. That would be the first thing. I mean, it is, look, I have conservative friends. I don't mean to be overly facetious here. I have conservative friends. We all do. And they're honest people. They believe what they believe. I believe what I believe. And that's called democracy. And that's a good thing. But I think the fraud that Trump is, the pathological liar that he is, has to be exposed. So we are going to hold him accountable for what he said and for what he did. He said he was going to provide health care to everybody. And then he proposes to throw 32 million people off the health care that they have. He said, you all remember, he said, I'm a different type of Republican. I'm not going to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And he brings forward a budget that does just that. So I think holding him accountable would be a good start in that debate.
All right, so there you have Bernie Sanders calling Donald Trump a fraud. I have a huge problem with that, and let me explain why I have a huge problem with it. Bernie Sanders is calling him a fraud, saying basically that he's a hypocrite. But Bernie Sanders is a Democratic socialist with 3 homes and a net worth of over $1 million as of last year. In that 1 year. So why is it that the Democratic socialist who owns 3 homes and in 2017, which was the last numbers that have been accounted for so far, he made $1 million and owns 3 separate pieces of property, but yet he should be telling you what it is that you should be doing with your money, and he should be telling the sitting president of the United States that he's a liar, a fraud, and a hypocrite. Bernie Sanders, I submit that you should be looking in a mirror before you call anyone a liar, a fraud, and a hypocrite. Because I can tell you this right now. If I had the kind of money that you had, I wouldn't own 3 houses. And I wouldn't have $1 million sitting in a bank account somewhere, because there are things that I could be doing with that money to make the world a better place. Sadly, because I don't hoard my money, I will probably never get to that point, but we do help people along the way as we go. Because that's what we're supposed to do. So for all of you on the left that think that the only way that you can take care of your fellow man is to take everybody else's money from them so that your government organizations can give unto others as you wish you would give upon them to yourself through yourself, then you really should start doing just that. Most of you have the means to be influencing the people around you in positive ways, but you're choosing not to do it because you think the government should be doing it instead. And that's just wrong. You can say what you want about it. You can say, I'm wrong. I don't really care. The simple fact of the matter is, the fact that we have so many people that are so well off in this country, on both sides, that refuse to do anything to help their fellow man is astounding to me. And that's what needs to change. We need to come away from this idea of, well, the government's already taking money to do this, so I shouldn't have to do anything because that's what my tax money's for. No, because if you're one of the people screaming taxation is theft, but then you're not doing anything with whatever you have to try to make the world for those around you a better place, then you are part of the problem. And that's where we're going to close tonight's episode, because I'm tired of people like Bernie Sanders and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez telling us that we need to give our money to the government. No. We need to stand up and take care of the people around us, because that's what we've been called to do. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We will be back tomorrow night for the double shot right here on KLRN Radio. First, Jen and Rick, followed by America Off the Rails in the late night slot at 11 p.m. Eastern. And then, of course, on Wednesday night, we will have we will not be having the conservative curmudgeon. This will be episode 2 of Toxic Masculinity in that time slot, followed by FUBAR, followed by yours truly. You guys have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Thank God we survived another one. Now on to Tuesday. And remember, in the words of Bill S. Preston, Esquire, until I see you again, be excellent to each other. And please don't wait for the government to do it for you.
It's running deeper than the ocean. This ain't religion, it's devotion. 3, 6, 5, every minute, every day. So in the middle of the madness. See you guys. I'm getting home. Later. Game over, man. It's game over.